She never expected to change her life with a single remark from a millionaire. $5,000 revealed. Emma stood at the entrance of the town hall, her heart thumping like a drum. She never imagined that a simple town meeting could shake the very foundation of her life. As the chatter of Maplewood's residents buzzed around her, she felt the weight of her single mother status pressing down on her shoulders. Her fingers nervously fiddled with the frayed edges of her sweater, a soft reminder of her world that felt too often dark and heavy. And then he walked in, Jake, the millionaire philanthropist with dreams bigger than Maplewood's skies. When Jake opened his mouth, she became transfixed. "I believe in the power of dreams and taking risks," he declared, his voice clear and resonant. Emma felt something shift inside her. A flickering flame ignited in her chest, sparking long-buried dreams of running her own bakery, of sweet aroma wafting through the air, of laughter echoing from her kitchen. For the first time in years, hope seeped into her bones. The gathering buzzed with excitement, but Emma's focus narrowed to Jake. Each word he spoke cut through the haze of her struggles. "If you believe in something, fight for it." The fire inside her roared. Suddenly, she wasn't just a factory worker turned food bank volunteer, she was Emma again, the woman who longed for more. Days passed, yet the thrill of that night lingered. Emma put her 2 young children to bed with dreams dancing in her heart. Each obstacle she faced, from finances to judgment, felt surmountable now. So, she took a leap. With a deep breath, she approached Jake after the meeting next week. "I want to start a bakery," she said, her voice trembling with both fear and excitement. The energy shifted, and Emma found herself met with skeptical glances from some in the community. "You really think a single mom can run a business?" they whispered among themselves. Did they see her daily sacrifices? Did they understand how she devoted her life to her kids' dreams? She wanted to scream, to shake them by the shoulders and say, "I'm more than this." But she swallowed her pride and faced them with a smile instead. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. And while Emma faced the harsh realities of entrepreneurship, Jake was struggling too, his wealth a barrier, not a bridge. Facing whispers of outsider echoed through town like a haunting refrain. As they shared their stories over coffee in a small diner, the bond between Emma and Jake deepened. She saw in him the same flickers of dreams stifled by judgment. The day came for Emma to lay out her vision again, and anxiety knotted in her stomach. Would the townsfolk believe? Would they support her? She wrestled with doubt, feeling the mixed reactions of her community weigh on her pulse. As she stood on the brink of a change that could reassemble her shattered dream, would Jake choose to stand beside her? Would he risk losing the acceptance he craved to support her, and the dream that could breathe life back into Maplewood? Emma took one last deep breath, ready to share her heart. Everything hung in the balance, on the precipice of something beautiful or perhaps, something heart-wrenching. What would the next turn reveal? Emma stood in front of the town council, her notes trembling slightly in her hands. Every face turned toward her, a sea of expressions that ranged from curiosity to skepticism. She cleared her throat, her mind racing. Hadn't she dreamed of this moment? Standing at the edge of possibility, ready to take that leap into something vibrant and fulfilling? The weight of the town's expectations was nearly crushing. "Today," she began, voice steadier than she felt, "I want to share my vision for a bakery that isn't just a business. It's a gathering place. A home for sweet memories." She caught a glimpse of Jake at the back of the room, his supportive nod igniting a flicker of confidence within her. As she spoke, she painted a picture. A bakery with warm bread fresh from the oven, decorated with vibrant pastries. Kids laughing, families gathering. But as she shared this dream, she felt the doubt curling around her heart. The council members whispered among themselves, and the chill of their disbelief washed over her. Would they remember the sacrifices she made every day? Emma, one of the members interrupted, a middle-aged woman with a stern expression. Running a bakery requires significant investment, not to mention the ability to balance it with family responsibilities. What if it doesn't work out? Each word stung like a bee, but Emma pressed on. I've worked hard and learned from my experiences. I believe small steps lead to big changes. Maplewood deserves a space that nurtures our community's spirit. She felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes but fought them back. The room remained silent for a long moment, the tension palpable. Then, the woman spoke again, softer this time. It's a nice idea, but you have to be realistic. Emma's heart sank. I am realistic. I am all too aware of the challenges. Just then, Jake stepped forward, his tall figure radiating assurance. If I could say something, Emma has a plan. I've seen her work ethic. If we don't support our own, he paused, his voice strong but not overpowering, then who will? The heart of this town lies in standing behind one another. Murmurings rose again, a mix of doubt and intrigue. The knot in Emma's stomach tightened. Had Jake risked his standing for her? The spotlight shifted from her demanding presence to the murmurs of agreement, some struggling with their own perceptions of what was possible. Maybe we can offer financial assistance, another voice piped up from the back, a familiar one. It was Thomas, a local farmer. The town has a fund for small businesses. Hope flickered through Emma once more, threading its way through the doubt. Was this the push she needed? With a trembling smile, she clutched her notes tightly. If given an opportunity, I promise I'll bring our community together. I'll prove that dreams can become reality, no matter how far-fetched they may seem. The murmurs shifted again, now infused with a spark of potential. Encouragement washed over her, but she needed to know more. Emma stepped forward. Who is with me? A few hesitant hands raised up, and Emma dared to believe. Was this the dawn of something new? Just as hope bubbled in her chest, the clock on the wall chimed, pulling Jake away to another engagement. He shot her a quick smile, full of promise and sincerity. Emma, he said softly before vanishing, I'll always believe in you. As she watched him leave, an unexpected anxiety clenched at her heart. She glanced back to the crowd, uncertainty creeping back in. Could she build this dream? Was she ready to embrace the backlash that might come when any failure echoed back? What lay ahead was still unclear, but one thing was certain: she was not alone. But could she accept this momentum and carve out her place in a world that seemed to hold her back? The next few steps seemed like a perilous dance, each one risking the ground beneath her. Would she be brave enough to leap? Emma stood alone for a moment, the silence wrapping around her like a heavy blanket. The council room, once bustling with voices, was now just a shell of anticipation. Her heart raced as she turned to the few who had shown support. Could they feel the tiny flickers of hope that ignited within her? Did they understand how much this bakery meant? A voice broke through the din of her thoughts. I'll help. It was Mary, the town's librarian. Emma's eyes widened in surprise. I can help you with branding and marketing. We can create something beautiful together. Joy surged through Emma like a warm breeze. Thank you, Mary. That means so much. As people began to mingle, a swell of warmth filled the room. Encouraging smiles replaced skeptical frowns, and she could almost see the community knitting itself closer together. But just as the mood lightened, another voice emerged from the back. It was Frank, the local business owner known for his sharp tongue. Sure, we can cheer on a dreamer. But dreams don't pay bills, Emma. Is the town really prepared to back another idea that might collapse? Emma felt the weight of his words kick at her resolve. Running a bakery won't be just an idea. It will be a commitment. A chance for everyone to contribute to something bigger. Bigger doesn't always mean better. You need a solid plan before you pitch for funds. Emma's chest tightened. He was right, of course. She had spent years dreaming without creating a concrete outline of how to reach those dreams. But perhaps this was her moment to change that. Okay. I accept that challenge. A plan, I'll work on it. With all of your input. Frank raised an eyebrow but offered a reluctant nod. Mary jumped in again. We could host a community meeting, brainstorm ideas together. Let us get everyone on board. The bakery can't just be Emma's vision, it needs to blossom from all of us. A ripple of excitement moved through the crowd, and before long, new voices chimed in. Ideas flowed about decorations, recipes, and themes. But a nagging fear still curled in Emma's mind. What if her plans weren't good enough? Let us put together a pitch for that town fund, Thomas suggested, a glint of determination in his eye. We can show them that our community truly backs this. A lump formed in Emma's throat. Support was building around her like a protective wall, but she couldn't shake the image of failure. She would need to pour everything she had into this. She could not let doubt deter her now. After the meeting, Emma stepped out into the sunlight. It felt like a different world outside, brighter and buzzing with possibility. She breathed in the scent of blooming flowers mingled with freshly cut grass, and her heart swelled. Just then, she noticed a sleek black car parked across the street, its engine idling. As she walked by, the window rolled down slowly, revealing a man in a sharp suit. He looked familiar, someone older, yet somehow approachable. "Excuse me, are you Emma?" he called out, voice warm and inviting. "Yes?" she replied, intrigue sparking in her belly. "I heard what you presented today. I'd like to help you with your bakery vision." Let us chat. Her breath caught, adrenaline rushes through her veins. What was he about to offer? Was this the lifeline she had hoped for? Uncertainty danced in her mind as she took a step toward the car. What if this was the pivotal moment she had always dreamed of? Could this stranger change everything? Emma approached the car, her heart racing. The man inside regarded her with a calm, encouraging smile. "My name is Marcus," he said, smoothly extending his hand. "I'm a local entrepreneur and I couldn't help but admire your passion. I think we could make this vision of yours a reality." "Really?" Emma's voice shook with disbelief. "You want to help me?" Marcus nodded. "Absolutely. I've seen my fair share of startups, and I believe that this bakery can be something special." His words wrapped around Emma like a warm hug. She could feel her nerves easing. "What do you mean by help?" "I'm prepared to invest in your idea," he said, his voice deep and steady. "I think I can provide the financial backing you need to kickstart your plans. Let us dispel those doubts you're feeling." The weight of uncertainty shifted slightly. "But why me? There are so many businesses out there," she asked, a blend of hope and skepticism woven into her tone. "I saw something in your presentation," Marcus replied, leaning slightly forward. "Not just a bakery but a community hub. A place where people can gather, celebrate, and share. Isn't that what you're dreaming of?" Emma could hardly find her voice. The encouragement she craved felt tantalizingly close. "It is. But $5,000? That's a lot. I wouldn't want to waste your investment." "Think of it as an opportunity," he said gently. "The funds can help you with the equipment, some initial marketing, and of course, the essentials. We'll build this together." Emma found herself nodding, but the knot of anxiety in her stomach remained. "And what would you expect in return?" "Just a stake in the business," Marcus replied straightforwardly. "A partnership to make sure that this bakery gives back to the community. We'll work out the details, but I'm invested in creating something real here. Something that matters." The warmth of his ambition lit a fire within her. Community was everything. It was what she wanted this bakery to be and more. "Okay," she whispered, a smile breaking through her apprehension. "Let us do it. Let us build something together." Marcus grinned, the ease in his expression suddenly making her feel like they were old friends. "Great. Let's set up a meeting to map everything out. I want you to feel confident every step of the way." As they exchanged numbers, Emma couldn't shake off a feeling of disbelief. Was this truly happening? Was she really on the brink of realizing her dreams? After Marcus left, Emma stood by the curb, her heart still fluttering. The reality of her situation began to sink in like warm honey. The townsfolk would be ecstatic to hear about this. With renewed energy, she headed back to the community center, eager to share the news. Ideas bloomed in her mind like wildflowers. They could create something amazing together, A bakery that would breathe life into the town. But uncertainty lurked in the back of her mind. Could they trust this newcomer? Was this miracle too good to be true? As she entered the bustling meeting space, excited voices filled her ears. Was now the time to drop the news of this monumental step? Guys! She called, and every chatter fell silent. A sea of curious faces turned toward her. You're not going to believe what just happened, she beamed. But just as she was about to share, a familiar face appeared in the doorway. Frank, his expression a mixture of skepticism and unspoken concern. In that moment, doubt bubbled to the surface again. What if he was right? What if this was just another fleeting dream? Could she truly navigate this new world of possibilities and partnerships, or was she bound to repeat the same mistakes? Uncertainty gripped her as she struggled to find the right words. Emma's breath caught as she locked eyes with Frank. His brow furrowed, a flicker of disappointment etched on his face, and she could almost sense the questions bouncing around his head. Her heart raced, uncertain if this was the moment to leap into her newfound confidence, or retreat into caution. Emma, Frank said, his voice carrying an edge. What's going on? Did you get bad news? She took a step forward, her excitement bubbling just beneath the surface, but doubt nipped at her heels. Actually, it's good news, Frank. I just met Marcus, and he's going to invest in my bakery. A heavy silence fell over the room. The low hum of chatter faded into the background, each pair of eyes glued to her. They were waiting, expecting her to lay out the details and bring the hopes of their little community to life. Frank crossed his arms, leaning slightly back as if creating distance from her dream. Are you sure about this? You don't know him. What if he is just playing you? Emma's heart sank a little at his skepticism. He sees the value in the bakery, Frank. He wants to create something for the community, not just profit. She felt the warmth of her earlier excitement flickering inside her like a candle fighting against the wind. You're telling me a stranger is offering to hand you $5,000? He pressed. You really believe he has your best interests in mind? Panic swelled in her chest, and she glanced around the room. A few faces looked supportive, others were uncertain, but all of them were waiting for her to stitch together a safety net of confidence. He does, she insisted, her voice rising. He knows my vision for the bakery, and he believes it can be a place of connection. Of hope for all of us. Hope, Frank echoed, the skepticism still clear. But what do you know about him? What if he has another agenda? The question hung in the air, heavy and unresolved. Emma felt vulnerability creep up on her. She hadn't known Marcus for long, but the way he spoke about community resonated with her deeply. A fellow member of the group broke the silence. If he believes in Emma's idea, maybe we should celebrate that. Maybe she deserves a shot. Encouragement sparked like wildfire, spreading warmth and confidence through the room. Emma brushed her fingers against the table, feeling the cool wood beneath her hand. Look, Emma said, her voice steadying. I get it. This is big, risky even, but I trust my gut. If we're going to get this bakery off the ground, we'll need to take some chances. Frank ran a hand through his hair, still processing. Just be careful. This could end up being something great, or it could blow up in your face. I don't want to see you hurt. Emma's heart softened at his concern, but she couldn't let fear dictate her next steps. I promise I'll do my research. I'll talk to him more and ensure this is right before I jump fully in. Others nodded with cautious optimism, sharing glances of understanding. Maybe this leap into the unknown was worth the risk if it meant building something together. Let us plan a meeting with Marcus then, one of her friends suggested. We can ask him the tough questions, make sure he has the right fit. Emma felt her spirit lift, the anticipation of the journey they would undertake together igniting a fire within her. As she looked around the room, she felt a blend of nerves and excitement. But then, just as she began to feel a semblance of clarity, a text buzzed in her pocket. It was from Marcus. Her heart raced again as she opened it. Can I call you? I have something important to discuss. The words struck like lightning, an immediate sense of urgency flooding her with questions. What did he want to say? Was he backing out? Emma's fingers trembled as she replied, her heart pounding louder than her thoughts. What lay ahead felt uncertain and thrilling, like standing on the edge of a cliff. Would she take the leap or hold back one more time? She gathered her thoughts, knowing she needed to respond before her courage wavered. With one last look at her friends, she took a deep breath. What awaited her on the other side of Marcus's call could change everything. Emma's heart raced as she stared at the message, anxiety creeping into her thoughts. It felt like the universe was holding its breath, waiting for her response. The anticipation was electric, but doubt still clung to her. She took a moment, the room around her fading into a blur, as she focused solely on the glowing screen. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. What was so important? Was he about to change everything? She typed back, "Sure, I'm here," and hit send. With the weight of her message sent into the ether, she glanced around the room, catching Frank's worried expression. He didn't say a word, but his eyes urged her to think this through. The phone rang moments later, and she answered, voice trembling slightly. "Hi, Marcus." "Emma, thank you for taking my call." His deep voice resonated through the speaker, calm and warm. "I hope you're doing well. I wanted to speak with you about the bakery investment." "Yeah, I am. I'm excited. You've got my community buzzing." She tried to maintain her confidence, but anxiety tinged her words. "I'm glad to hear that," he said, his tone shifting to something more serious. "However, I wanted to share something that you should consider. There has been some interest in your idea from other investors." Her breath hitched. "Oh? Yes. A group approached me wanting to brainstorm over the concept. They think your bakery could be something significant, and have resources to help expand it even further than $5,000. Expand? The thought was exhilarating and terrifying. What do you mean? Why would they be interested in my small bakery? Because it's not just a bakery. It's a vision, a place for the community, Marcus explained. She could hear the sincerity in his voice. They want to support local initiatives that foster connection. But I wanted to discuss this with you first. You would have the final say on any offer. Emma's heart pounded. This was more than she could have ever imagined. But with greater opportunity came greater responsibility. What if I'm not ready for that? This is my first step, Marcus. Emma, he said gently. I believe in your dream. You have a rare chance here. Just think about what you want. This could be the beginning of something amazing. His words floated in the air, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. Emma closed her eyes, envisioning the bakery. Not just pastries, but a hub of hope, laughter, and connection. I need some time to think, she finally managed to respond. There is so much for me to consider. Of course, take your time. Just remember, opportunities like this don't come often. After hanging up, Emma sat in silence. The weight of his words settled in the pit of her stomach. Suddenly, her dream felt so close yet so distant. The possibilities loomed large, and she could almost see them shimmering ahead, darting just out of reach. Frank broke the silence, his eyes searching hers. So, what did he say? With her breath hitching in her throat, Emma felt a mix of dread and excitement. He said, others are interested. Bigger offers could come my way. A flicker of surprise crossed Frank's face, followed by concern. And how do you feel about that? I don't know. It's a lot to digest. Just as her uncertainty began to settle like a cloud in her chest, her phone buzzed again. It was another message from Marcus. The words glowed ominously. I need to talk more about the plans. Can you meet tomorrow? Emma's insides twisted. Could she really do this? Could she face whatever new challenge he was presenting? The room felt charged with questions that had no clear answers. With each heartbeat, the path ahead seemed thrilling but paved with risk. Could Emma find the courage to embrace her dreams and confront the unknown? Was she ready to step into the life she always wanted, or would fear pull her back into her shell? These thoughts swirled in her mind, leaving one definitive truth: her next move could change everything. But was she prepared? The following morning, Emma woke to the soft light filtering through her curtains. The sun painted the walls in hues of gold, promising a new day. Yet within her a tempest brewed. She had hardly closed her eyes the night before, thoughts racing, the weight of possibilities pressing down on her chest. She rolled over, glancing at the clock. It was almost time to meet Marcus. Her mind buzzed with questions. What would he say? What kind of plans did he have in mind? Was she really ready for all of this? As she prepared for the day, she couldn't shake the flutter of nervous energy. The familiar smell of coffee wafted through the air, enveloping her in comfort. She forced herself to sip a steaming mug, seeking solace in its warmth. Frank, ever the supportive partner, watched her with a look that mixed pride and concern. Are you ready? He asked, his voice gentle. I think so, she replied, though uncertainty dripped from her words. She fiddled with the hem of her shirt, her mind jumping to the future of her bakery. What could it become, and at what cost? As she stepped outside, the chilly air hit her face, sharp and refreshing. It felt grounding. She took a deep breath, filling her lungs with possibility. The picturesque streets of their neighborhood bustled around her. Emma smiled faintly at familiar faces, her heart swelling with the thought of connecting more with this community she cherished. Arriving at the cafe where she was to meet Marcus, she felt her nerves surge. Inside, the bustling environment was alive with laughter and chatter, a stark contrast to her turmoil. She spotted Marcus at a corner table, a reassuring smile on his face. He gestured for her to join him, his warm presence calming her. Emma? I'm glad you could make it, he said, his voice smooth and inviting as he stood to pull out a chair for her. Thanks for having me. I got your message. I appreciate you wanting to discuss things in person. Marcus nodded, his attention unwavering. I believe conversations have a certain power, he said, leaning forward. It's where ideas take shape. And I feel this partnership could be the first step towards something truly remarkable. Her heart raced as he began to outline the investors' interest, their vision mirroring her own. Every word dripped with promise, painting a vivid picture of what could be. Yet, every vision of success came with its shadows. What would it mean to give up a little of her control? Would her dreams still be her own? Emma, I know this is a lot, he continued, sensing her hesitation. But I want you to feel like this is your dream, too. We can do it together, and you can steer the ship. You deserve to see your vision bloom. His eyes were earnest, and she could see the passion ignited by the potential in front of them. There was something compelling in his presence. Yet her mind began to whirl again, drowning out the optimism with fears. This wasn't just about money, it was about who she would become in the process. As Marcus brought out proposals, detailed and promising, Emma found it hard to focus. She could hear his confident voice, but her heart settled uneasily in her chest. The path ahead no longer seemed thrilling. It was a maze of choices, and she was the one holding the map. What I'm trying to say, Emma, is your bakery can be more than just a business. It can be a place of healing and togetherness, a community that rallies around your vision, he said, pushing a colorfully illustrated proposal across the table. Emma couldn't keep the tremor from her hands as she reached for it. Something stirred inside her, pulling her forward. But doubt still lingered. I know this is an opportunity, she breathed, her voice shaking. But what if I fail? What if I lose everything? Marcus leaned back, his expression softening. And what if you succeed? What if you change everything for your community? Her pulse quickened, but this time, it was laced with a flicker of hope. Could she really change her life with just a decision? Please take your time. Just know, I'm here to support you whenever you are ready, he added, his tone reassuring. As Emma glanced at the proposal, she thought about her dream and the community that meant so much to her. A huge part of her yearned for that growth, yet fear whispered threats of retreat. Would she seize this chance, or let it slip away? The answer felt more important than ever. And as she stared down at the proposal, the weight of the moment transformed into a question that echoed in her heart. Could embracing her fears lead to the life she always envisioned? Emma's heart pounded as she stared at the colorful proposal before her. It seemed so alive, each page promising not just growth but a new identity and new purpose. The cafe around her buzzed with energetic conversations and a clinking of dishes, but all she could hear was the quiet voice in her head questioning her worth and ability. Emma? Marcus's voice broke through her thoughts, bringing her back to the present. Are you still with me? Sorry. She cleared her throat, forcing a smile. It's just a lot to take in. Absolutely, and I don't want to rush you. Just know that every great journey starts with a leap of faith. He leaned back, eyes steady on her, patiently waiting. Something about his encouragement sparked a flicker she hadn't felt in a long while. This was more than a partnership. This was a chance to reshape not only her bakery but also her life. But the voice of doubt grew louder, echoing her past failures. What would it feel like to succeed? She whispered, almost to herself. Marcus's presence felt magnetic, urging her to truly imagine it. The sweetest victory, he replied, grinning. I see your vision in action. Families gathered around, sharing laughter over pastries, the warmth of community filling the air. Your light, Emma, this is what you were meant to do. She felt her heart flutter at the image. A bakery as a haven, an anchor for her community. But as soon as hope rushed in, fear tugged at her sleeve. But I've never. What if I can't handle it? What if I let everyone down? Then you learn and grow. No great success comes without risk. He paused, leaning closer. What if you worry about failing, and you prevent yourself from even trying? His words struck deep, and for the first time, a realization surged within her. What if failure wasn't the end, but a stepping stone? The only failure is not trying, she murmured, her thoughts racing. Exactly. I'm not asking you to have all the answers today. Just one small step. If you're not ready for this moment yet, that's okay. But what if you took just a few steps any direction? The way Marcus spoke made the world around her blend into a soft blur. All she could see were visions of flour dust dancing in the sunlight, of laughter shared at her bakery tables, and the aroma of fresh bread wafting through her neighborhood. I want this, but the tremor in her voice returned. What if I lose myself in the process? What if it stops being fun? Marcus nodded knowingly. You won't lose yourself, you'll find yourself. Think of all you would have to give, and all that you would gain. You'll be the keeper of your dream. That's powerful. Taking a slow breath, Emma's mind danced between visions of success and her fears. She realized that perhaps the catalyst for her bakery wasn't just about growth, but also the weight of connection it had in the hearts of the people she loved. Okay, let's say I agree to explore this farther, she said, tentative yet resolute. What would the first step be? For a moment, there was silence as they both absorbed the gravity of her words. A slight smile crossed Marcus's face, and he pulled out a notepad. Let us outline the next steps. We'll break it down into manageable pieces. Together. His enthusiasm was palpable, and for the first time in ages, hope sparked anew in Emma's heart. As he began writing, Emma felt invigorated. The possibilities began to unfold, and the murmur of her cafe returned to her ears, this time sounding like music. But just as excitement bubbled within her, a flicker of unease encapsulated her thoughts. What if the journey ahead was filled with obstacles that would test her resolve? Tonight she would have to consider it all. The leap into the unknown loomed just ahead of her, but one thought thundered in her mind: was she capable of writing a new story for herself? And as that question lingered in the air, it became clear this was just the beginning. What would happen when she discovered the true cost of her dreams? Emma sat back, her heart racing as the sound of the cafe flooded back into focus. The clinking of forks against plates mingled with the low hum of chatter, but underneath it all, the stirring energy of possibility spread like good yeast in the dough she often baked. Ready for this? Marcus asked, breaking her reverie. He looked genuinely excited, like a kid about to go on a roller coaster. More like terrified, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. He chuckled softly. That's a valid feeling. But remember, fear can't stop you, not if you choose to use it as fuel. She nodded, pushing back a lock of hair that had come loose during her flurry of thoughts. The vision he painted was so vibrant, so real. Yet here she sat, paralyzed by the what-ifs. Okay, she said, steeling herself. Let us do it. Let us outline a plan. Marcus grinned, his pen poised above the notepad. Great. First off, what's your biggest dream for the bakery? Not the small stuff like new decor or menu items, but something bigger, something that makes your heart race just thinking about it. Emma's breath caught. What did she truly want? The visions twisted in her mind, glowing like a sunrise. I want to create a space that feels like home, where people can gather, celebrate, and find comfort, whether that's through a loaf of bread or a warm cup of tea. That's beautiful, he said genuinely. So, let us make steps toward that. They began jotting down ideas. What would it take to create that environment? Community events, workshops, showcasing local artists. Intimate gatherings. Emma's notebook filled with fresh ideas, each one sparking joy. It felt liberating. As they worked, Emma realized the weight of her dreams was less suffocating than she had expected. Each step felt lighter, almost like lifting a weight off her shoulders that had been there far too long. She couldn't help but smile as Marcus shared anecdotes about other businesses that had succeeded against all odds. It's all about the connections you make, he said, enthusiasm dripping from every word. And trust me, you've already got what it takes. You've been connecting with your customers all along. Her thoughts raced as she allowed the warmth of his words to settle in. She would have the chance to bring joy to others, and perhaps, in doing so, find her own joy again. But then another thought punched through the haze of excitement. What if it's not enough, Marcus? What if I still fail? Every successful baker was once an apprentice. Mistakes are part of the journey. They help shape who you become, he insisted, his eyes sparkling with conviction. His unwavering belief in her began to replace the doubts that had long haunted her. Okay, she said, her heart steadying. Show me how. With renewed determination, they dove deeper into logistics, costs, timelines. Emma's vision began taking tangible shape in maps and notes, and for the first time, she could see the possibility turning into reality. As they wrapped up their planning session, Emma felt a sense of euphoria wash over her. The fear hadn't vanished completely, but it was manageable now, something she could dance alongside, not beneath. Just then, her phone buzzed on the table, breaking the moment. It was a message from her mother asking what time she'd be home for dinner. Emma smiled and responded, but a new question nagged at her. Would she have time for family? The thought gnawed at her as she and Marcus finished their plans. Balancing her dreams with her personal life suddenly seemed daunting. As they stood to leave, Emma glanced at Marcus, uncertainty creeping back in. What if I can't balance everything? He smiled gently, sensing her apprehension. You'll find a way, Emma. Just take it one step at a time. Yet deep down, she knew the coming weeks would push at her boundaries, challenging her in ways she hadn't expected. Would this leap bring everything she ever wanted, or was she too ambitious? Navigating between her dreams and reality was going to be a journey in itself. And as she stepped out of the cafe, she took a breath, the crisp air filling her lungs, hoping she was truly ready for what lay ahead. But just as those thoughts swirled in her mind, she noticed a flyer stuck on a lamppost outside. The bold title read, Local Entrepreneurs, Pitch Your Dream for a Chance at $5,000. Emma's heart leaped, a chance to give her ideas a real push. But that also meant stepping further into the unknown. Was she ready to take on this new challenge? As doubt flickered back in, one question echoed louder than the rest. What would she do if everything depended on that moment? Emma stood at the edge of the Maplewood town square, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. The lively chatter of the crowd filled the air, but her mind was locked onto one thought: today was the day. The day she would pitch her bakery idea and, hopefully, change the course of her life forever. As she clutched her proposal tightly against her chest, she felt the pulse of countless dreams around her. Each person present had their own hopes, fears, and stories the same as she did. Would they see her vision? Would they believe in her? Taking a deep breath, she forced herself to step forward, a path of determination in her stride. Standing at the podium, she faced a dozen familiar faces, many of whom once cast skeptical glances her way. Now, she could see curiosity sparking in their eyes. "Thank you for coming," she began, her voice steady but filled with warmth. "Today, I want to share more than just a concept. I want to share a vision, a bakery that isn't just a business, but a gathering place, a heart of our community." Her words hung in the air, alive with possibility. As she painted the picture of laughter mingling with the sweet smell of freshly baked bread, her passion enveloped the room. Emma spoke of workshops where children could learn to bake, of cozy corners where conversations flowed like the warm mugs of coffee she envisioned serving. Each sentiment echoed her wish for connection, a space where everyone felt welcome. And then came the moment that made her heart race. "I'm asking for your support, not just for my dream, but for a dream that belongs to each of you. Maplewood deserves a place that uplifts us all," she finished, her voice trembling with conviction. A momentary silence followed, and Emma's stomach turned. Suddenly, a wave of applause erupted, filling her with a warmth she had long yearned to feel. Skepticism began melting away into a powerful current of support. She spotted Jake in the crowd, his proud smile bolstering her courage. "Emma, I think what you're planning is incredible," shouted Thomas, the farmer who had backed her before. "You'll have my support. We need more places that bring us together." Others chimed in, voices woven together like a rich tapestry of hope. As the applause echoed around her, she could feel the heaviness of doubt lifting. The support around her felt like a warm embrace, and the fear that once gripped her heart began to dissipate. Emma realized she wasn't alone. She had allies who believed in her, and together, they were ready to make something remarkable. In the following days, Emma met with Marcus to finalize plans and brainstorm funding options. The proposal competition loomed, and with each meeting, excitement built. But doubt still whispered in her ear. What if they failed? What if she let everyone down? As they chatted, Marcus' confidence dripped into her, fueling her determination. "Look, every entrepreneur has doubts," he assured her one evening as they mapped out their pitch. "It's part of the journey. But you can't let fear of failure overshadow the possibility of what you can create." Reflecting on the community's backing, Emma decided to embrace her dream fully, failures and all. She remembered the earlier days when she supported others while feeling lost, and now she could finally take charge of her own path. The day of the pitch arrived, bold and sunlit. Emma's heart raced as she stood in front of the panel, the esteemed investors of the town. Behind her was all of Maplewood, her friends, family, and supporters. With every word of her presentation, she infused the warmth of her community into her vision, showcasing not just a bakery but a dream of connection. When she finished, it was clear this was not just her alone but fundamentally each of their stories woven together. The panel murmured their thoughts, and one member finally broke the silence. "What you've created here is powerful," he said, his voice steady. "You embody the spirit of this town." Days later, the call came that forever changed her life. She had not only won the funding but had also inspired a wave of support that spread throughout Maplewood. As she stood there, her children beside her, their future suddenly filled with sweetness and light, she couldn't hold back the tears of joy. She realized she wasn't just building a bakery, she was building a legacy, a safe space for dreams to thrive. Embracing her community, Emma had transformed their fears and doubts into a collective celebration of success. As her bakery opened its doors, laughter and love rolled out into the streets, a true testament to a dream born from a single remark. And as each day turned into a new beginning, Emma knew this journey had just begun. She would never look back. If you've loved this story, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now for even more exclusive stories coming your way. Don't wait, leave a like now to help out the algorithm. I want to hear your reactions, so comment with your feelings about this ending. And please share instantly with at least 5 friends who need a dose of transformation in their lives. Together, let us spread the magic.